So yeah, well, I would say that the people who seem most called to our work right now is, call it legal psilocybin facilitation, um, are people who, like at base, just feel stuck with whatever they're dealing with. Sure, it can manifest as symptoms of depression, like lack of motivation, lack of optimism, lack of hope. Um, Fatigue, chronic fatigue, and lack of energy. It can manifest as anxiety, where whether it's ruminating about the past or projecting, negative projections into the future, or burnout, relationship issues, however it manifests. It's at root, though. I would say that what the common factor for everybody is that I'm looking to get unstuck. I've tried, and ideally you've tried other modalities of unstucking yourself, whether it's, you're tending to your basic self-care, ideally, so, okay, I'm trying movement. I've done meditation. I've done tons of talk therapy. If you have capital T trauma, I would for sure say unpacking some stuff through with, whether it's with a counselor or a therapist or a group or something like that, is going to be the healthy first step, and not looking to psychedelics to be some silver bullet, for you. But then usually people reach some plateau there in their healing process there. And that's where psychedelics can catalyze that next level of healing into, first and foremost, acceptance for what has happened in the past, so that you no longer ruminate about it anymore. There's a deep, deep acceptance when you get to process the experiences in those states of consciousness, so that's that concept of releasing or letting go. You're finally just, you're in full acceptance of it. And the same goes for, I think, for chronic little t trauma, that tends to manifest as, just chronic nervous system dysregulation. And so really what people are looking to, their path of healing is really just learning how to master their nervous system. So you have increased capacity for stressors, the normal stressors of life, and you don't crumble, and increased emotional fluidity, and also just increased emotional intelligence. So much of, what people are moving through is just pathologizing normal human emotions. And that's that concept again of like really embracing full spectrum vitality, what it means to be human. But the way there's multiple sort of ways that psychedelics help us in the healing, of various mental health conditions, or capital T trauma, little t trauma. There's the therapeutic aspects of the journey itself, that I mentioned before, but also the other piece is, grief processing. That's a really big piece for a lot of people. Again, because there's a lack of safety for feeling emotions and feeling certain feelings. People are actually not able to move through the grief process in the way that we're wired to actually move through it. If you look at other cultures, there's, practices like extensive grief rituals around losing a child or losing a parent or losing your lover. And we've lost a lot of that in modernity. And so part of it is just creating the safe space for somebody to process grief. That's a really big one. So there's a cathartic and somatic processing within the journey itself, that closure, that deep acceptance. And then I think the other piece of it too is when people learn how much of their lives are spent in the past and in the future and not in the present moment. And so really learning how to, once the grip of that inner narrator, inner autobiographer, that self-referential thought neural pathway, once that gets quieted down, it allows for which is a very top-down process, neurologically speaking and psychologically speaking. What psychedelics do is they open up the pathways for what are called bottom-up processing. So that's taking what's happening in our peripheral nervous system and those signals coming up and informing our central nervous system and therefore our experience of reality. And so when the top-down predictive processes are interrupted and stopped temporarily, and there's flexibility afterwards, allowing all of that bottom up processes to it's like a rebalancing of the systems